Oh, good evening and welcome. My name is Rob, aka Lantern Noir, and we are here tonight to play some Dungeons and Dragons. This is episode 12 of the Convergence. It is sponsored by all of the amazing people who helped us on Kickstarter. If you want to sponsor your own episode, please get in touch on the Discords or Twitter message or Twitch Whisper, because it seems like my initial estimate for the number of episodes was a little bit on the light side. Because this group has told me we're playing D&D in perpetuity on Wednesdays. So either there will be, either we're already renewed for season 2 or season 1 has been extended. It's one or the other. It's hard to say. But either way, this is, no. We are still very much in season 1, Les. I'm sorry. Because there's a definite, as much as these 4 will let me have a plan, there is a plan. So I shall let these 4 tell you tell you a little bit about where they are with the game tonight. So our usual round of introductions, that being the who are you? Where do we find you? Who are you playing tonight? And then our icebreaker character question, I think, should be, how does your character handle that first major snowfall of the last year in this area? A good blizzard hits, 8 inches of snow come down. How's your character taking it? Which is kind of like a prologue, since right now we're playing the game in the autumn in southeast Michigan. So they haven't had the snow yet, but we'll see. Molly, do you mind kicking us off tonight?
I'm sorry, did you say me?
Yes.
Okay, hi everybody, I'm Barely Molly, or Bear or Molly, whatever you prefer, and I play Samantha Metal, the gnome artificer who has JB, the very large vending machine guy, which I don't know if anyone watched Nintendo Direct, but a lot like that, a lot like the Kirby vending machine. And what would Sam do? I think that she definitely would be like, oh, I have like a snow blowing gadget that I now need to try out. And it's like literally driving like a Zamboni down the street, like terrorizing the neighbors. But yeah, she's definitely like, I have an idea. I can fix this problem.
Seems reasonable. Pond?
Hi, everyone. I'm that other font. Sorry, I got really excited when Molly brought up the vending machine thing because I had meant to bring it up because Les and I were watching the direct together with a few other people and we're like, this. Anyway, you can find me over at That Other Pond where I stream Fire Emblem Three Houses, and soon I'll be streaming Fire Emblem Warriors. And I'm also playing Mass Effect 2. I'm on a slight break for D&D, but we'll be back at it soon. And I play Aveline, who is a human fighter. She is very familiar with the snow, so she'd probably just think it was kind of normal. Probably be a little comforted by that, just to be able to see, since she's from the mountains, having that nice first covering of it. Yeah.
Cool. And Tiffany?
Hi, I'm Tiffany, or TS. I am playing Sibelia, or Sib. And of course, her new partner in crime, Fupon. You're a human ranger. How she would react to snow, I think she would tolerate it. It makes messaging much slower. It makes parkour a little more interesting. Not necessarily in a good way. I, however, love it. But I think she she tolerates it. If she's someplace warm with hot chocolate and a chocolate milkshake, she's down with it, but she doesn't want to go out in it. I think that was it, right?
That'll work. And last but absolutely not least, Nightlight Night.
Hi, I am Nightlight Night, or NLK. You can find me here on Twitch. We actually just started playing through Dying Light, which is my probably favorite zombie game ever. And very excited to be playing Dying Light 2 in a couple weeks. So, I mean, parkour and zombies, there's just nothing better when you can just smack something, not with the Warhammer, but with a pipe. But I will be smashing people's heads with a Warhammer tonight because I play Katie, the Forge Cleric, who is a half-orc. and is from a desert planet. And so I feel like after being very confused and absolutely miserable because of how wet it is, not necessarily the cold, because it would get like really cold at night on her planet, but definitely the wet cold where it like seeps into your bones and you just can't warm up. But I think probably the first thing that she would do is probably make a snowman, because she's never had the ability to, and sand doesn't really work very well for snowmen. So
That's absolutely fair. And then my name is Rob, aka Lantern Noir. I am the dungeon guide. I get to play everybody else at the table, which is kind of fun, kind of exciting, a little bit intimidating, but it's still a good time. Let's see. Previously on, and the neat thing is now that we're 12 episodes in, quite a bit has happened in that time. So the best recap would be the party has received a Convergence shard, which they're not sure what to do with. They've left it with Samantha's brother, Sean, for safekeeping. Because what could possibly happen when you leave a major MacGuffin with an NPC and then you travel multiple days away from them? At the same time, they had an opportunity to meet an incredibly knowledgeable and slightly arrogant gnome who had figured out how to use that crystal to reverse a convergence event and send realities back to their original state. All they had to do was find a way to make an infinitely small hole in the crystal in order to contain the energy release. Simple matter, just make your way down to the once fabled Arbor of Anne, find a device there that is known for being able to drill infinitely small holes, bring it back, and we will then begin repairing the universe. The party set out to that end. On their way down one of the many highways that crisscross Michigan, they came across some brigands who had set up a roadblock to collect a toll, who then decided that this party has too much money. They'll use their dragon to get the money from them. One significant melee and one dead dragon later, what could happen? Well, we're going to find out. They discovered that the brigands had left behind their enslaved caretaker to the animals, one young lady named Lindy, that took in with the party. They took her under their wing. They set out to investigate rumors that she had heard or had partially seen of someone worshiping a forge god, but to not good ends, which raised more questions than answers. They then engaged with some form of machination created by this cleric, probably, discovering that they were animated armor. At the end of that fight, Lindy's sister, Delilah, joined the party, having been separated from her sister for some time. The party then went off to finish Delilah's mission of taking out a camp full of bandits. If you weren't here last week, you really want to go check out the brilliant planning of our ranger, who was in charge of infiltrating the camp. I'm not saying anything more about it. I'll just say there was combat. And
it was successful.
You successfully snuck into the camp. I am not disputing that. No one can dispute that. We might dispute the second half of the plan. And I think for the first time in a couple of weeks, we just went, and we're done this week. At the end of the combat. Are there any motions to amend the minutes, or is there a motion to approve them? The motions are thus approved. Wooly, thank you back. We're glad to have you here. And thank you for that. As a reminder to everyone present, the Book of Fate is where we keep track of the opportunities for these amazing people to tweak the results and twist their fate. Every 100 pages in the book represents one reroll they can use when they want. As Ratty McRaticus has just brought up, you can also use your channel points or the sound alert to force a reroll. We ask that you limit yourself to 1 reroll per attempt because we really don't want to get things bogged down on constantly rerolling to get that 1 success, because let's be honest, sometimes failure is a little more interesting. Or we don't want to get bogged down on you trying to force them to fail just because you think it would be more interesting. We've all had a heck of a week. We need some wins tonight, okay, folks? That's all there is to it. When the dinosaurs show up, that means Rob just says it's time for a guilt-free combat. Let's kill things. That's all I will say about it. If the minutes have been approved, I think we should start our session off. So we're going to run the opening credits, and then we're going to play some D&D.
We are warriors to the very end. We must stay strong. Together we will win. In the universe there is darkness. Danger lurks out there. Danger. The evil tries to get us. It's everywhere. We are powerful. Beside you we will stand. We are warriors till the very end. Together we will win. The Convergence.
You find yourselves standing in the remains of the abandoned camp. 2 of the tents have been forcibly dismantled while you were there. 1 member of this troop has made for the woods and disappeared. The rest are no longer a threat to anyone. Lindy, for her part, is mostly going to be sticking as close as she can to Pond. Sorry, Aveline. It's been a day. And I haven't started imbibing yet. I'll be doing that soon. But Lindy's going to stick really close to Aveline throughout this and doing what she can to kind of make sure everything stays quieted down. Delilah's already gathering her arrows back up and checking to make sure there's nothing sneaking up on the, there's nothing coming in. So she's almost like assigned herself to act as a watch. What's everyone else up to in these moments?
I think Katie is gonna go into, because I believe that the leader's tent was still intact, right? If I remember correctly, we took down 2 of the smaller ones, but the leader's tent still was standing.
It was.
So I think she's just gonna stepping over his body, gonna go into his tent and just kind of like check things out, see what's in there, see what's up.
Okay. You have an opportunity to look around. There's a chest with various accoutrements of light travel, a couple of changes of not well-made clothes. There's places to make correspondence. You have a chance. Go for it.
Sorry. Go ahead. No.
Nope.
Finish your description.
You might be able to make some stuff out. It looks like there may be some communications with others to coordinate with the roadblock, the animals, and their handlers, and some theories about imperial movements in the area.
Okay. I think she would see the notes and stuff and pick them up, but I'm pretty sure that there are probably some words on there she doesn't know. So she'll just kind of pocket them for right now.
I'm really sorry, folks. We're going to be taking a short break. I'm having some local color going on. Hopefully we'll be able to resume this stream within the hour. If not, my deepest and humblest apologies to everyone who showed up tonight.
Maybe re-roll.
Yeah, re-roll it. Re-roll it. The birds are important. Yeah.
Everyone's in on the reroll.
I screwed these birds up earlier.
After the other thing, because they're legends and they have to fight. That's how that works.
No, I did
Oh, I'm well into my negatives on the countdown. I appreciate everyone that hung out through that, and I do apologize for the local color. But that was something that we needed some time to talk as players about, and just kind of get things going. And we will try to get as much D&D in as we can before our overseas friends pass out or have to leave for work, depending on what time zone they're coming from. Because we appreciate you and we love you. Sorry, I should have done a thing. It's just par for the course tonight. I think the important thing is we need to avoid all combat because nobody is rolling higher than a 5 tonight. Let's be honest. The way the planets have aligned, that's what we're looking forward to.
That makes the best combat.
That or it's all nat 20s from here.
Heck
There you
yeah,
go.
the planets have just aligned only for
Yes.
dice.
We got all the
Maybe-
bad stuff out of the way.
Yeah, maybe that was our one. That was our nat 1.
That was our nat 1 for the night. I will be as optimistic as I can be about that. So anywho, before we went to commercial, Katie was in the tent searching through the stuff.
Yes.
You had found some correspondence that connects possibly some semi-coordination with the various camps, but nothing like overt that you can see at first glance.
Yeah, so I will still, Katie will still pick up the correspondence and like pocket it to show to Sam and Sib and people who can read the language here a little bit better than she can. So
Can I check what was he, like a captain or a general? Can I check his pockets?
he had
For
some many
anything?
swords.
The guy in charge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He has
That I rocketed a gumball through.
that was pretty funny actually. He has nothing of consequence on him.
Okay.
He literally he's practically in his small clothes and his armor. He used whatever he could get on quickly to get out and get into the fight from where he was sleeping. So unfortunately, there's not a lot to be found on him.
I was going to keep poking the guy by me with the sword and be like, yeah, take that. Put it away and then, root through pockets. Or if there's nothing, go root through a tent. Totally pretend that went to plan.
Aveline turns to Lindy and she asks, are you okay?
Yeah.
Got a couple good jabs in there. That was nice. Thank you.
I just wanted to make sure I was useful.
You very useful. Probably more useful than me just now.
She kind of shrugs a bit and blushes and appreciates the compliment and then kind of tries to make herself look like she's doing something of consequence by going through the same satchel next to the fire 3 or 4 times, not really knowing offhand what she should be doing right now.
Katie's going to come out of the tent, kind of holding up the things. And so please remind me, it's Lindy and then Delilah.
Mhm.
And Delilah's the older one, right?
Right.
So she'll go, Delilah, do you know where the other thieves' camps are? Are there any other ones close by?
She
I found this.
She considers it and looks at it and reads it over. I don't know for sure. I mean, there's always rumors about where they've made camp, but they move around a lot. The Empire has regular patrols out this way, allegedly. I mean, they're supposed to.
When was the last time that you saw them?
A patrol?
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't tell you. A few weeks, maybe?
And that Katie's going to look at the rest of the party. Do they have magical horses?
I don't think that one did.
Okay.
No, if the dragoons are getting involved, that's usually not a good sign. They only come out to collect taxes. Uh-oh.
That sounds about right.
The head
Was
of
this the only
magic
camp
horse
that you were tasked to take out or to scout?
and
Okay, so we're going to back up. You're all going to do that again because the last 130 seconds all happened at the same time on my end.
it sounded really
I
weird.
thought it was me, and I was like, oh no.
It's like,
I was like, everyone got really quiet all of a sudden, and I was like, no one's blinking either.
I wanted to ask Lindy.
I feel like I should just kick my power strip now to turn everything off, just so I can say I did, just so I know when it happened, as opposed to waiting for it to happen on its own.
Where you have like owl bears drop out of the sky and we just hit something. Like, I'm not sure. Anyway.
It's a good night. It's
a
a good
great
night.
night for D&D.
It's all about the rolls tonight. We're gonna.
It is.
Yeah.
It's gonna make up for the rolls are gonna be great.
Is there a role for comprehension? Because I feel like maybe we need to start with that one and see if any of us know what's going on.
We all just brain blue screened at the same all of our characters and the DM. We're just like, eh. We all disassociated at the same time.
Oh, that's awesome.
No. Sib, what were you gonna say?
Yes.
Because I think you were first.
All right, Lindy, the head bandit of the group that had you and Fukan hostage had a magic horse and had like a dragoon's outfit. Was he? Or had he stolen it, or was X, or?
I think I remember
Predator
doing
Patrol?
at the time I did like some type of check, and it was like very clear that this person had like what is it called when you leave something inappropriately? What is it like?
AWOL?
Yeah, like he went AWOL, like he left his group, obviously, and his like clothes were like old and like ripped up and stuff.
I didn't know if maybe I forgot about that.
So,
Deserted.
Deserted.
That is what I meant. Yes, thank you.
You say deserted, I say took a better offer.
Sure.
Deserted, met a dragon.
Ghosting. There you go. That definitely works. Delilah will confirm that she might be able to lead you to another camp if she does some tracking, if that's what you want to be doing.
Well, we needed to take out this camp to help you.
This is the one that was most likely to strike out where some of us have been hiding out since. Well, some people have relocated after the things happened in Haven.
Is the one who got away something we need to worry about? Will he know where another campsite is, or do you think he's just going to run?
She kind of shrugs.
Keep on running.
He might know where there's another camp if we can track him. He might just be running for somewhere safe.
But he won't know where your camp is, probably.
Well, it's not hard to find the people that relocated. There's a pretty good number.
So are you worried about the other bandits then?
At the moment, no. I mean, we do okay for ourselves, and we do have protections. But you have to be careful with resources, right? I mean, I knew I could probably get a few people together and take this camp out. We didn't have to use something bigger on it.
Well, we obviously don't need to worry about them now. But Delilah, do you know where, well, obviously, because it was your old hometown, if you need to take Lindy and go back, we understand. But I think I need to see what this claimed forge god is doing.
Well, I don't think it's much of a claim, but there's definitely power there. It's nothing
There
any
may
of
be
us have seen
power.
before.
There may be power, but who they're claiming to be may not be who they actually are. And I need to see if that's the truth.
Okay. Yeah. So you want me to take you there? All the way back to Haven?
You don't need to take us. You can point us or give us directions. I know that we don't want to endanger you nor Lindy.
Speaking of which, do we need to take them to their camp? Or is that maybe on the way? Two birds, one stone kind of deal? Or
Well, those that relocated, they're not far outside of Haven.
oh, perfect. I mean, not perfect, obviously, but like, you know, we could escort you back, and then I don't know what we're gonna do in Haven.
The knights though that they found us, how have they not found your camp then if it's not that far outside?
I don't know. Maybe Cormac doesn't think we're worth it, or he's decided to spare us.
Who's Cormag? Magpie? Higgins?
Cormac, the cleric of the Forge God.
Oh, right. Sorry, forgot his name.
At which, like, as she says that, Lindy actually will take a step to put Aveline between her and her sister. And looks like noticeably concerned about the conversation moving to talk about him.
Like she's scared to talk about it, or like really uncomfortable, or like she's hiding something?
More like really uncomfortable.
Okay.
Of
Or
her
like
sister?
more of the kind. Well, you could ask her.
Yeah, Aveline definitely kind of turns towards her. And, are you hungry at all?
No.
I have this. This. Do you want one?
I love it.
Because of course you do.
Why not?
I need.
Here you go. All yours. I don't think I can eat it. No,
Ladies and
I'll
gentlemen,
try.
everything I've ever said about the merits of gaming distance have been brought to a stop. It totally sucks. Because at this moment, the DM really could use a bribe of a Twinkie.
I have cookie dough if you want it.
Not, again, not helping in this particular circumstance.
It's so oily. I don't remember this.
It's gonna leave a film on your mouth for the
Ugh.
rest of the night.
Okay,
too.
can I be honest? Twinkies are not that good.
No, they're not. They're
I've had
awful.
one in years. I should have just left it in the package.
You know, what is the joke?
Ooh,
You can
no.
put it on your ceiling fan, and the only way you'll know it's there is eventually it'll fly off.
There's a reason they
Still
say
tastes
Twinkies
exactly
will
the same.
survive the apocalypse, okay?
Ooh, I like
But you
that.
did take one for the team. I appreciate that, Pod.
Anytime.
We
That's what I'm
do.
here for.
She'll take the proffered Twinkie with a look of great concern. And then as she takes the first bite, will very politely force herself not to retch.
Yeah, you don't actually have to. I also have leftovers from last night. Here,
It's
eat this. instead.
delicious, right?
Look,
Let
most
me know if you
people
want another one.
see Sam. Sam really likes them, and I thought I was the only one who didn't like them. So here, have this instead. Help her like leftover dragon meat or whatever.
Dragon jerky.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
she'll take a step away with you to munch and sit down and look at what's left of the fire.
Is everything okay?
Yeah, good. Just I don't like thinking about what happened in Haven.
I mean, that's totally fair. With the idea of going back there, you clearly you don't want to do that.
I'll be fine.
You don't have to, though.
Are you going?
Yes, but
Then I'll be fine.
I'll make sure you'll be fine. But if you have any doubts or anything, just let me know, okay? I will understand, and we'll find someplace way cooler than Haven.
Oh, someone's got to watch your back, right?
Truly, you're not wrong there. You're not wrong there.
These Twinkies are gross.
Yeah, don't you just. I thought it was just me who didn't like them.
The gnome
Here.
is an odd one, isn't she?
She is, but she's very clever, and she has a big heart. It's just sometimes a little distracted.
Meanwhile, as the rest of you are talking to Delilah, you had questions for her? Or is it just discussing the plan to get back into Haven?
Well, I mean, I think especially after hearing that there's another cleric of the Forge God, Katie's going to start asking questions. How long has he been there? How long has this cleric been in Haven?
Since spring, I think? Yeah, it was spring. It was planting season. That he returned from travels through in the winter. Cormac grew up in Haven. He's been there for ages, and if I remember right, he took it upon himself to try to be an adventurer. And then he came back and he had found religion.
But he specifically found the Forge God.
Mm-hmm.
Did he ever say how he came in contact with them or how he found this religion?
Very few people have had close counsel with him to know much more than what I've said.
But yet he's taken over the town.
Oh,
He's taken.
you've seen his troops. They're formidable.
So he came back with those troops then, or did he make them in Haven?
He did not return alone, but his numbers have grown since he came back.
Do you know how he creates his soldiers?
No, I would not stay for that.
Well, did you hear the sound of a forge? Did you hear anything before you had to leave, before you were forced to leave?
Not really. Lindy and I, we left pretty soon after his first return, before he had a chance to get any kind of a foothold.
So his intentions were clear then. He came back and he immediately started.
I believe so, yes. Yes. He even created himself a keep. A gift, I guess, from his god. He raised it right out of the earth.
Is his keep made out of metal?
Stone.
Or is it stone?
Stone, I believe. I can't say that I've ever been inside it.
No, I would not hope that you would be.
But when Lindy and I fled, we were separated, and I regrouped with more of the people who had left. We made a camp, and we've been there since. Not everyone can travel very far. So those of us that can fight practiced, and we keep the camp safe.
I'm glad that you got out safe. But, and she like holds her pendant. I too am a cleric of the Forge God, and that does not sound like something my Forge God would ask or want of anyone. And if someone is a false prophet, they need to be taken care of.
And on that note, does Evelyn have more that she wants to talk to to Lindy about?
Yeah, she mostly wants to ask kind of what Haven was like before all this happened.
Okay. Without the full role play, she'll just share that it was a relatively small, not really small, modest-sized farm community. Mostly they had converted ruined houses into a collection of functioning ones. Ones that were too far gone, they just let go, and other ones they would turn into storage or other purposes. I'm trying not to read the chat. Polymorph, I'm going to make you a mod so you can time yourself out. I'm just saying. Anyway. But yeah, it was a couple hundred people, maybe 1,000 at its peak. And kind of quiet living. She grew up there. They had a schoolhouse at one point. It was some kind of an apothecary building had been converted over to it. They weren't sure what CVS stood for, but it was still definitely on the wall.
Do you know who would know that? Sib. She knows all the things about this stuff. We'll ask her. But what specifically makes you so uncomfortable about going back there?
We never saw anyone that didn't make it out in the first wave again. Like, they didn't turn up. They didn't catch up with us. They didn't send word. It was like anyone that didn't escape in the first day disappeared.
Well, you were caught up with these bandits relatively quickly. So,
but even they haven't heard of anyone else. Which, you're not wrong. Maybe I'm just being paranoid.
It's good to be nervous. To consider, the threats. It's actually very wise. I don't always do that.
Worry about everything, panic about nothing.
Yes.
That's my father used
I like
to say.
that. He sounds like a smart man. What is he doing now?
She takes the Twinkie and actually takes a very large bite of it. And chews it really slowly.
You didn't have to. You never have to answer a question if you don't want to. And you can certainly spit that out.
No, she's committed to it now. I mean, she's committed.
Doing the really
saying,
slow
the more you
chew.
eat them, the more they grow on you. Okay, I'm serious.
They're growing
like a
something.
fungus.
They're growing something, that's for sure. But she will intimate after a long enough stretch that in all of the time that she's been outside of Haven, she hasn't heard what happened to her father yet. And Delilah didn't have anything to say about it last night.
Well, I assure you, I will at least get an answer so you know. There's nothing worse than not knowing what happened, even if the truth is tragedy. I go to give her a high five again to see if she'll accept it instead of ducking away.
She's she's on board with that. She understands what the signal is for. It's not the most enthusiastic, but she's good to go.
I did have one question.
For
who are we talking to? Delilah, right?
you could be, yes.
Okay.
You can
So
also
you got
You can also ask the DM if it's that kind of a question. I'm open.
Oh no, I guess it's in character because I don't know. So
Fair.
So you guys got out. You snuck out the first day, right? Or did you just leave?
It was more of an exodus.
So you freely left.
Yeah.
Would you happen to know maybe a less conspicuous way to get in and out of the village? Did you ever sneak out before, or is this kind of like a we have to go and knock on the door sort of thing?
No, it's an open village. It's not like there's no palisade or anything.
Oh, okay. Okay, never mind then. For some reason I imagined like a big gate around it or something, I don't know.
Oh, no. I mean, I'm not even sure that the keep has its own wall or anything. I think it just has been risen up.
Huh. Weird. All right.
So are we taking you and Lindy back? Or
If that's where if you want to meet him, I can lead you back to Haven for that.
I don't want you getting too close. I don't want to put you or Lindy in jeopardy.
I don't think I'll be in jeopardy. I can keep Lindy safe, I think. And she kind of looks over at Lindy and Aveline, talking. Plus, it looks like Lindy's got more than enough protection.
I know that we could protect you, but it's more of, do you want to go back? It's not that we don't think that you are capable. It's that was your home. And something awful happened.
We survived it.
You did. But going back home like that can be hard. So I don't want to force you to go back. We can take you to your camp, and then you can just point us in the right direction. We know that you can handle yourselves. And she gestures. You just proved that.
She nods. Well, let's at least get back to the settlement, and we can consider from there.
All right.
Cool. Anything else that anyone wants to accomplish at this campsite before we cut scene to the next location?
Having overheard her talk about, the dire straits, maybe collect anything that looks good, like clothes or tents or something. Just put them on Fukan. He can carry them if they need supplies or something. Otherwise, they're just here to rot. So.
Ooh, Katie is gonna pick up and examine one of the leader's swords that he was being all funny and flailing around. She's gonna look at this craftsmanship of this sword. Is it anything more than just the
bandit leader's sword?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a sword.
She's just gonna bend it. She's just gonna be she's just gonna bend one because he had two. She's gonna bend one. There's another one if you want it, but I would not recommend it. Sorry, I would not recommend it unless you want something to throw. Sib, do you want to throw one of his very bad, poorly made swords?
Yeah. I mean, especially if it's shorter, because then I can use two short swords. A bad and a good.
Katie will pick up the other one and hold it out.
I'm going to stuff it in.
That's fair.
Aveline picks up some chainmail and just puts it on formally. So it's known that her AC is higher.
Yay! And what does that take Aveline's AC up to?
16.
Okay. I think we are capped at the 2 dogs. I don't think we'll see. No, we might see one more. Oswin might pop in at some point. Otherwise, just going to sell for cats meandering through the other 2 of us. But it can happen. Let's see. Molly gives Sam a thing. Wait, what?
Right, so she took off the enhanced defense on Aveline's armor that was on it before. So that means that I have an infusion spot open. I only have one open for enhanced defense or anything else, right?
You're the expert on artificers. I just go with what you tell me, and I pray I don't find out I'm wrong later.
Okay, it might be that I can only do enhanced defense another time, but I will double check. And I can only do it on a long rest, so it's not like we can do it now anyway.
Right. You have a whole day ahead of you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wait, it's morning, isn't it?
Yeah, it's morning.
Oh, God.
Oh, is it morning? I thought we attacked them in the middle of the night.
Yeah, you took your long rest.
Yeah, we rested and woke up, like, in, like, the
4
early
a.m.
a.m.
So we
Sunny
just
here.
took a long rest.
You
Okay.
literally just took a
Right.
long rest.
Oh,
I
No
I
longer
can't
rest
take
throughout
another
the-
one right now.
would get comfy. Y'all are going to be stretching out for a while. You have a long day ahead of you.
Not if we go to the camp and take like a little bit there.
There you go.
And okay, I ask
What?
this question with love. Do you
Yes.
think there's any chance you're going to get to that encampment without some kind of an event on the way?
We're gonna be super sneaky. We have the blessing of the doggos. We'll be fine.
Come on, this is the 12th episode. You know what's going to happen.
and let's not forget, my vending machine is stealthier than Aveline.
Is he still stealthier than
Yes.
Aveline?
Especially now
Especially
that
now
I have
with chainmail.
disadvantage.
Oh,
I'm like-
chainmail's disadvantage?
Yeah, chainmail's disadvantage because that's
You
how I
know,
have disadvantage.
I'm gonna
as
have
well.
to get on the D&D forum for this one and go, how do I square this particular circle? How is the vending machine Steel Defender
Yeah.
sneakier than...
Maybe I should have.
He has
Maybe JB
Yeah.
should have disadvantage too.
I-
He is
he has
a giant.
wheels. He doesn't have little legs. He just got little wheels.
They're well oiled, so they don't squeak.
Yeah.
there you go.
Sam's created an oil made out of Slurpee juice left over, and it really, really keeps him quiet.
It's a good lubricant, you know.
Yeah. I mean, a
When
little
you-
sticky, but
If
you
he
know.
rolls on like any flat surface, you just hear like that sticky noise, like when you step in Slurpee juice.
Oh, it's like he sounds like when you walk across the theater floor.
Oh. Yeah. That's right, Disney. We're not going back to the theaters anytime soon, and it has nothing to do with COVID. Just saying. Okay. Any other anything else that has to happen before you set out to follow these pathways, deer trails?
I think so. We raided the camp to see if there's anything. And
So just to clarify, are we stopping by the survivors camp or no?
Your plan is to get there eventually.
Okay.
Rob will tell you stuff is going to happen on the way.
Yeah. I mean, so I think like after, and this can be like while we're walking, this is like afterwards, but Katie does not have the commune spell or anything, but she is going to be spending a lot of like reflection trying to like, and I don't know if she has to have like a forge or something in front of her to talk with her god, but like she needs some explanation, so she needs to like try to figure out what's going on.
Hey, God, it's
Because-
me, Katie.
Yeah, pretty much.
Got it.
Hey, forge god, it's me, Katie. You have some explaining to do. But like while we're walking, she'll just try to reach out. I mean, how they've communicated up until this point has been very like not, it's been a little more random than anything, I
Mhm.
think. And so she's just going to try whatever, because she doesn't, aside from like kneeling in front of her forge and all that stuff, she doesn't really know what she's doing. So yeah,
Yet somehow the Forge God smiles on her. Somehow.
somehow.
Okay. I want to check one thing mechanically before we roll, and then we'll get into the next scene. Because I just want to double check about that commune spell.
Well, Katie doesn't have the commune spell. I don't have it. That's not one that she can know yet. So
okay.
It's not an actual commune spell. It's more
No.
like...
For me, I want to know what was in it mechanically to
okay.
give me some directions about what I'm going to be doing. Okay. All right. That's what I wanted to know there. Just going to make sure I don't overlap other game mechanics that might become relevant at a later date and time. Trying to be cool about everything. Okay. And yes, just standard short sword. As you're walking and you're trying to commune, you're trying to find that center. One thing that Katie will find herself constantly distracted by is the walking. It's not creating. It's not producing. It's not defending. It's walking. You are able to take, if you can convince the party to take a stretch break, take a water break, take any kind of a break, it becomes very easy to get your hands on one of those new blades that's Sabalia picked up and sharpen it for her.
Okay. I mean, I think if we do take a break, then that's what she would do.
And that action grounds Katie. There's a clarity about the purpose of the Forge God. It's about the creation. It's about the building. It's about the creating a defense. Because the Forge is not just it's not a carpentry god. It's a god of making weapons of war, which can do a lot of different things. But you also find a lot of thoughts are going through that idea of building an empire starts at a forge. Building an army starts at a forge. There's something that's the idea of raising an army for some purpose actually has a weird resonance, but it's not one that you've ever felt comfortable thinking about before. Like there's a logic to it, but it's a weird logic. And it's not one that that doesn't have a deep resonance. It's like, yeah, this is not the way I have learned to worship this God. There's definitely a disconnect. It could be a different God. It could also be a God from a different circumstance. I think it'll be one of the last things that kind of clicks into your brain as you put the last touches on the blade is that you are sitting at an epicenter of multiple existences. It's not insane that there could be multiple Forge gods.
Okay. She'll finish sharpening the blade and hand it a little, like, wordlessly, but gently back to Sib. Just kind of deep in her own thoughts at this point.
Sib will notice and not go like, wow, that's cool. She'll just do it internally.
Yeah. At which point, Lindy will come back from where she'd been scavenging with a handful of slightly overripe berries that she found, and Delilah will motion you to continue. And you're back underway. Let's do this one. As you travel, and you've been at this for about an hour now, maybe a little bit more. Delilah will point out that there's another place you can check in on the way, and she'll flag you off the road and say, let's well, on our way, let's go check over here. And after about another 20 minutes in that direction, you come across a collection of what looks like they were constructed from cast-offs. So temporary housing, sheet metal, corrugated steel, wooden pallets. And there was like a small village that had kind of come up around it. It is devoid of people. It looks like it's been completely abandoned.
Voluntarily, not like there was a battle or anything.
Are you on your way in
Round?
to investigate it?
Yeah.
Okay. The D&D Beyond widget is still down, but I do have Sabalia at 12 hit points.
Yeah.
That's what my record showed
Yeah.
too. And yes, the witch is still broken with no ETA on getting it fixed. So one of my things to do this week is to come up with a better strategy for sharing out the character sheets with everybody, because it really annoys me that that still is broken. And I did do the uninstall reinstall thing. That did not fix it. I think I have to uninstall it, completely log out of everything. And I don't know how much I have to log out of because everything's so integrated. It's really frustrating. As you start to kind of go through, you see signs of struggle. Broken pots, dented cast iron items. What you don't see are any bodies.
Are there trails or any tracks?
You can roll me an investigation or a survival, whichever you think would be a better roll for you.
I would love to do an
definitely survival.
investigation.
I know. You just,
Survival, please.
You love it when I tell you you're allowed to use investigation.
I mean, it's not as good as Ember's investigation, but I'll still take it.
What is?
Yeah, that's true. She has a +8 to investigation.
A big old 10.
Big old
I got a
10.
14.
I got a 3.
I got a rock.
Fun fact, a friend of mine has a t-shirt with Charlie Brown in his overhauled ghost costume holding an electric guitar with the caption, "I got a rock."
That's amazing.
Look it up, kids, or ask your parents. Okay, so Sam will definitely be able to start to piece together a little bit of what's happened. There definitely was a fight, and definitely bodies were dragged off.
I'm gonna ask for JB to, I'm just turn to him and be like, JB, something's not right. So how about check the perimeter? Because as a steel defender, he cannot be surprised. He is vigilant. So I think I'll have him check the perimeter for us.
Katie will go with him.
That seems fair.
Viola, is this where your people were?
No, this was a different camp. A different group had settled here. Maybe this is the first I've seen it. But I thought there was something this way that we should check out.
You were not wrong.
There's not much to check.
Doesn't look like they voluntarily left. So where?
She kind of shrugs at that.
Keep looking around.
Can I do?
Go ahead.
Sorry, can I do a perception check as I'm wandering around with JB?
Sure. Whoa. What would you like to know?
I want to look at the direction of the drag marks and see like I would like footprints and that sort of stuff. Would that be more survival than anything?
Sort of, but you can definitely pick up on things.
Okay.
Like you're definitely like aware of what's been happening in the area.
Mm-hmm.
With that, they all head in the same direction, and it's very much in line with the direction that, not quite in line with where Delilah was leading you, but it's in that vague direction.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, which sister was the one who said we should go and check this out?
Delilah's been leading you so far.
Was Delilah the one looking at Lindy weird and trying to get away from her? Okay, reversed. Got it.
For all their affection, Lindy seems to have some concerns with Delilah that she has not yet spoken. But there's definitely been that vibe between them that they're sisters, they love each other, but there's definitely some history.
Is there blood? Is there like a bunch of blood? Does it look like people were hacked apart, or does it look like people were wounded but then like dragged off?
It's hard to say. There are some places where there clearly has been blood spilled, and there are places where people, like you can see struggles had taken place as well.
But like even in the places where there were like big pools of blood, obviously somebody got like the head chopped off or something, there's still not a body.
Rob's gonna double check his notes on that.
Okay.
Rob needs to keep this part of the world consistent, so he wants to make sure he gets this right. Because I have that, and I have that, and there we had that. So yes, there are some. Now you're finding some dead bodies.
Katie's gonna say, "I found some bodies over here." And
Evelyn
check out.
goes to help check out.
As you get over there, one of the things that Katie will identify with that stinking natural 20, that's still on the board right there, is that these are the only bodies you found, and this is where the most blood has been spilled.
Mm-hmm.
It looks as though perhaps there had been some kind of like concerted effort to defend this area, because everyone that's down is holding some kind of like weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And they're generally like decent ones. We're not talking great swords and stuff, but like we're not talking pitchforks. We're more in the category of spears and halberds.
Okay.
Militia weapons.
So you said that there was like, they looked like they were defending something. Looking at the area, does it look like there was something like a chest, like a area that is more furnished? Or is it just like there just seems to be a pile?
Aveline will be the one who would answer that, which is this is probably where they made their defense of the village. This is a good spot to like hold someone off at if you could.
Gotcha.
Do you guys recognize any of these people who are dead, or?
The girls have not seen them before.
For the nature of the wounds, are they like made from weapons?
Yes, definitely.
For the bodies.
Blades.
Okay.
They don't have any kind of like, they don't have similar markings, or they're not, I don't know, they're just regular villagers, right?
Right.
So looking in the direction that the bodies seem to be drug off, Katie's going to turn to Delilah. How close is your camp to here?
Another hour, maybe?
But you said is it closer to Haven?
No.
Okay. You need to get farther away. You need to take your camp and you need to tell your people to get farther away.
We've been safe for months.
It doesn't matter. If you've been safe for months, that means that you have been in the same place for months. You need to get out. You need to get further away.
I do an insight check on Delilah?
Sure.
I was just about to ask that. Can I do one too?
Sure. Donk donk.
15.
Whatever. Lindy will
I
tell
want
me
to do
what's
an
up.
insight check on Lindy.
Uh-huh.
Can I just do an insight check to do an insight? I feel left out now.
Do it, join us.
Insight.
Do you feel better now?
Yeah, so 16. It feels good.
The best insight.
See, and she was better too.
She's the most insightful one. She's the best. She's the most perceptive, the most insightful.
Really good thing
We
that we
would-
have Katie
But
here.
I'm
We
not
think all
the
day.
smartest.
Clearly the leader.
Yes.
Please no.
Too late.
Aveline does say, if you haven't moved for months, it means that someone probably wants to make you think you're safe.
Yeah, I'll agree.
Delilah will agree with that too. And from her tone, she has a potentially unearned confidence in the safety of the other survivors.
How does Lindy look right now?
Lindy's not entirely sure what to make of it. She wholeheartedly insight check with where you're at is enough to identify that she's, or at least Sib can nudge and go, I think the kid's beyond the level. She definitely is in full agreement of getting as far away from this as possible. And she's not even sure why her sister is cool being closer than this to where these things are coming from.
We need to get to your camp now.
Okay.
Go over near Evelyn when she's kind of on her own and go, do you get the feeling Delilah's not telling us everything?
Absolutely, I do.
You think we're walking into a trap?
Potentially. I do think she does not want her sister hurt, though. So I think if we're walking into
True.
the trap, it's under the best circumstances. I genuinely believe you can shoot quicker than her, so just be prepared.
Oh, I've got the bow out. I'm gonna get it out. Just prep it at the side. You know, this is. Make sure the crossbow's loaded.
This is the. Did we ever figure out how long Lindy was being held by the bandits? It was like a while, wasn't it?
I think we had asked, yeah.
Several months.
So Delilah is our only source of information that her people are still in an encampment somewhere.
Did we get anything on those insight checks into Delilah, or did I miss that?
I think Sam would like to say that to I don't know who I've held back, but I've taken somebody's hand and been like,
That would probably be Katie.
yeah,
By
Katie,
default.
yeah, yes.
I'll be okay with
yeah.
Delilah.
Rumi, I think we need to speak for a minute. Yeah.
It's like way over.
I just want you to be aware that Delilah, who's I think we all agree is acting a little shady, right?
Do you think that she could be working with this Cormac?
I don't know. It's obvious that Lindy doesn't fully trust her about something. And I know that they're sisters, but Lindy hasn't been to this encampment for a long time.
It's true.
There's
Lindy's
no
also
telling.
been- Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying there's no telling what we're going to find when we go back there.
That's very true. The only source of information that we have is from Delilah. And I find it a little odd, now that I think about it, that Lindy was so close and her sister did not come and try to free her.
Yeah. Because obviously we've seen she's capable.
Because Delilah found us very quickly after we had freed Lindy. So why was she afraid that she couldn't
I mean, the
Maybe
only
she
thing
couldn't
I
take
can
them all on
think
her
is the
own, though.
dragon scared them, but like, come on. It was a piece of cake.
She is a good shot. But I would not want to take, even I wouldn't want to take a dragon on alone.
No, but she said that she's had other people that she's hunted these bandits with at this supposed location, right?
But what choice do we have, Sam?
No, I'm not saying we do. I'm just saying perhaps we should go into this very cautiously. I don't know what we're walking into, but it's very possible it is a trap.
That is a good point. We'll keep an eye on her. We have to go though, Sam. I can't let this Cormag be speaking in the name of the Forge God and killing people like this and taking over. Forming armies, maybe, but something's not right.
I agree.
As you're walking and having this conversation, Delilah will call for the group to stop. And she takes a moment and kind of waves her hand and points in a direction. And Aveline will also pick up on it about the same time, that there's the sounds of metal on metal from just over the next hill.
What does our terrain look like right now?
Light forest following a path.
So we're on a path, though?
You're on a definite path.
Okay.
I'm gonna try and stealth my way up closer and see if I can off of the path. Head off
Okay.
the path. Try and go up and see what
Sib slips off the
is
path
up there.
and starts to stealth her way along. I'd love to know, although it's really not that hard to this is not a tough check, but I'd love to see your stealth check.
20.
Oh yeah.
Sadly, not a natural, but still a 20.
Hey, we'll take a dirty 20.
Yes.
Um
I'm sneaky.
Now, do you have a okay?
I
Before
have a
we do this,
plan?
the DM needs to check. Do you have a plan for what happens if you find something?
My initial plan is to see if I can find what's going on, take a quick look, and sneak back to tell people.
I just need to know that you have one.
I have a plan.
That's
I
my whole
don't
job.
remember
Okay.
it.
Is she within 120 feet? Can I open message up with her so that she can respond back? Or I'm sorry, slide into DMs.
I think 120 feet is not that far for where how
Okay.
far she's got to go to get a good sight view. But you creep up along, using the trees for cover. There's what remains of a roadway that runs through this part of the woods. Rusted cars feature on either side of it. And in that open space are, where's my number? There's my number. 4 of those metal warriors. Hey, little bit, you going to bed? Hug.
Here.
No, I can't. I'm in the middle of a thing. Quick hug, quick hug. I love you. Good night. In that open space are 4 of those metal warriors you fought earlier, engaging with 12 men in uniforms and 1 officer in command. You recognize the deep blue coats of one of the Imperial regiments. And they are having quite the scrap.
Okay. And it's just those. I just see the Imperial Regiment and the 4 metal things. It doesn't look like villagers or
Nope.
another band is hiding anywhere. All right. I'm going to quickly stealth back and let these guys know. And then I'd like to go forward, get a good vantage point, and try and take a shot on a metal guy. This isn't the band of officers that we recognize. That's not the ones we've run into before, right?
You do not recognize these uniforms.
What's that?
Well, actually, you might.
We recognize the uniforms. Okay.
You might actually recognize something because you've got that. You've been around. You've run through the Imperial City more than a couple of times. Give me a quick yeah, you can roll history if you want.
Yeah. Ooh. Is there another option? No, I'm kidding. Oh my gosh.
Hey,
I got an 18. I have a -1.
you paid
that was
attention to
awesome.
things.
Well, this anyways, because, you know, it's important to know where they are when you're delivering.
Mm-hmm. This is definitely one of the senior regiments. They're often dispatched to patrol this area on foot. These are not dragoons. These are foot soldiers.
Just clarify one more time. No horse.
No
horse.
horses.
When I sneak back,
No
I'll eat
pants.
No horse. No
No
pants. No Marvin's
horse.
pants.
No Marvin's pants.
Marvin's pants. They are very... do they look like they're holding their own? Or
It is really hard to say. They look like they're pretty evenly matched. It's a toss-up. And as you're like contemplating that first arrow to fly into it, you watch as one of the metal warriors takes out two of the guardsmen
Okay.
before it gets pulled down by three of them, and they just start hacking it apart with their pole arms.
Hey, if we help them, maybe they'll help us clear out Haven of these things, right? No? Never mind.
So it would still be good if we
Trust that.
help them out, maybe.
Wow.
Okay, what is our certain situation? So is Sim did not come back, right?
Has Sib come back, or is she still up there taking her shots?
No, I came back to let him know, and then I said I was going to go up and take some shots.
So you're together in this moment. Say what you got to say.
Yeah, are we gonna go help them? Or wait, Sib, come back. Wait, don't move yet.
Yep, I grab Sib. I grab her.
She's gonna grab the hood.
Do we think it's a good, I mean, if we help them, maybe they'll help us clear out Haven? Like, they might be here for this, right?
Well,
Or they
I'm
could-
curious what Delilah wants to do.
if they're the protectors and they're checking over on people, isn't this what we need? Is them to understand that there's bandits in the
Delilah is
area?
happy to let them fight on their own.
Oh, I don't like that.
Doesn't surprise me.
If they're here to help those in Haven, why would you want them to fight on their own?
The Empire doesn't help anyone but the Empire.
Okay, you're telling that to the right person. Yes. I have nothing after that. No, that's a good.
Am I going? Am I allowed? Are we helping?
No, Sib, no, no. We are not decided yet. We need to go as a group.
Well, think of it this way: we'll take out 4 more of those armored things. That'd
I
be good, right?
understand, but then we are involving ourselves with the Empire, and last time that I remember, we wanted to kind of what is the term? Lay on the ground.
Stay low.
Lay
Low
low.
key.
Low.
Lay low.
Low. Lay low.
Not
Lay
low.
low?
That lay
Lay-
low. That it's just,
Okay, so we wanted to
not be noticed.
lay low
Right. Yeah.
and
Whatever,
not
close
let
enough.
the Empire.
Okay,
Because
but we haven't done anything wrong.
I
We swing
mean,
by, to these ones, we swing by and help them out a little bit, and we're like, see ya. You know, send them on their way. Maybe figure out what they're down here for.
how many were there? How many?
Well, we're 12. Well, and the 13th one, so 11 when I last checked. Probably less now. Oh, and I think they were down to 3 of the metal things because they seem to be doing all right.
That is a lot. It will definitely slow us down from getting to Haven.
Yeah.
Aveline, what do you think?
If they could prove to be an actual resource to people in need, and do what they should be doing, I would be happy to help them, but
They would owe us a favor.
were they struggling?
Define struggling. I mean, 2 got taken out in a swing. That's not great. They're okay. They're kind of holding their own. Yeah. I mean, I could go back and observe some more if you want.
Nope.
If we can get them to act on a favor, or perhaps
I mean, military all about you, life for life. I mean, you saved our life. Usually that's good.
Just one more life that they can tax. That's probably why they're
Well,
out here.
Is that Delilah saying this?
Yeah.
They didn't look like the tax collectors.
Katie kind of sighs in resignment. We need to go help them.
I'm good?
and if they don't want to help, I will have something to say about that.
If they don't want the help, we leave.
Oh, I meant for them to help us.
Oh,
later.
yeah, no. Mm.
Me.
We should help them.
All right.
Never hurts.
So run in screaming, right?
Well, let's sneak up, shoot a couple of things, and then run in screaming.
Sure.
Actually, we can shoot a couple of things and send in JV. That'll send anybody screaming. Well,
That's
no.
true.
They're also
He's a
mechanical.
large metal construct. And
Who would be fighting other large metal constructs.
Yeah,
so-
but I don't know if they would know that he's on their side.
Sib, why don't you go and you create a distraction?
Yeah.
We'll come up from behind them.
All right. Come on, Fukan. We got a job.
Okay, so the plan is, after extensive debate, you're going to have Sib make a distraction and sneak up on them. Could you clarify that pronoun for me?
Them being the
Metal constructs.
the metal constructs. Seeing if she can distract metal constructs, we will go after one. Like if she can distract one, we're gonna go strictly after one and then move on. So it's not just
Damn.
like, woo, random people now joining the fight. Are they on our side or not?
What is terminal velocity of a Twinkie? If Fukan drops them from high enough.
Catapult on it.
No, Twinkies do not have that high of a terminal velocity.
Oh no.
Velocity.
Awesome. Worth a shot.
As we're slowly sneaking, I do want to turn towards Lindy and Lindy, and ask, are you okay with this?
Sure.
Do you think that they'd be able to help people in Haven?
Never helped me.
Very fair. And I
There's
believe
first
that.
to everything, I guess, though.
It's worth a shot, right?
Dad used to say something about burn me once, burn me twice.
That's fair. I used to feel very similarly, but I have learned that there are some few good soldiers that you can occasionally run into. And I tell you, I would happily burn down the whole empire.
Yeah, you and Delilah get on great.
Well, don't say that just yet.
You get up, as you come back up and you're following the tree line to look in on where they're fighting. The battle has definitely shifted in the time it took you to make a plan. As Rob reminds anyone who pays attention to such things that a combat round is 6 seconds. That was a good, 15 minutes of debate, which translates to 150 rounds of combat.
So I mean, if they're not dead, then obviously, like
I'd
they're
also
fine.
say is maybe 3 minutes of debate, but that's
But either way, to be fair, yeah, combat usually goes pretty quick. This is just LARPing at this point. Fair point. At this, as you come up on it, there's one of those metal warriors left, and 5 of the uniformed Imperial troops. Sib sets out to create that distraction when you notice that the last of the metal warriors has dropped its sword and has grabbed onto the bodies of 2 of the other metal creatures and has started to like drag them away as quickly as it can.
I'm gonna stop kind of before I break the tree line then.
Okay.
Because that was the last one and he's leaving and there's still some soldiers, right?
Yes.
I'm gonna observe.
Are we
Okay.
all together?
Everyone but Sib, I believe.
Okay, so Sib is there, but we haven't reached. We can't
Sh-
see what Sib
She's
sees yet.
going off to the side. You guys are probably going to notice this about the same time as she comes down one side and you all come up over the rise.
Okay.
Um,
Getting a lay of the battlefield. Are the soldiers like? Are there ones that are wounded, or are they like dead?
They are definitely like, it's hard to I'm not giving that to you from this distance. There are
Okay.
people on the ground.
People on the ground.
They are not moving.
Okay.
Dead. Meh.
How far away is this construct that's dragging?
How far do
other
you need it to be?
120 feet.
Sure.
Okay. Katie is gonna come over and is gonna shoot guiding bolt at it.
Oh, you're coming all in.
Yeah, we're going.
Right then.
We said we had a plan. We're doing the plan.
We're doing
If
the
they're-
plan.
If it's
Go with the
120
plan.
feet, can I try
Right
to
then.
slide into the DMs of one of these things on the people on the ground?
They're
to
all
see
kind of
if
things
it's-
the
if they're
same.
alive?
Voice.
Sure. Oh, wait, things on the ground. People on the ground.
Yeah, that like the soldiers or whatever. Can I like, hey, we were walking by and we saw this happening. Do you need help?
The ones that are on the ground or the ones that are standing there.
Standing. If we're 120 feet.
Okay.
Probably
Yeah,
one
like-
that looks alive.
Yeah,
Oh,
I was
the
gonna say,
one, the
are
one
you-
who looks the most alive.
Are you going for the one with the fancy hat and
Sure.
the gold plating around all of
Yeah,
the
sure,
coats?
sure. Whoever
Okay.
looks alive and important.
The one who looks like they're in charge.
Yeah, sure.
Cool. Because
So
actually,
hats also mark importance of humans.
they
Yes.
do. Well, take a look at the tokens. So there's that person versus that person. Who would you talk to?
The one with the fancy hat.
Yeah, I'll talk.
That's very
I'll
compelling.
All
I'll
about the
send a
hats.
DM to Fancy Hat.
The fancy hat, definitely.
Yeah. Well, also
Are
the
they
gold,
riding?
Yeah.
the gold coloring on the
Braiding and-
coat and the
Trim.
yep. Yeah.
I just talked to her because she's a lady.
Can you
All about the hats.
can you tell I'm a history nerd?
It's good.
I like to think we make the best DMs. Okay. I saw that and I'm working towards it. Roll me the attack roll on that guiding bolt.
Okay.
While she's rolling that, Sam can definitely get into the DMs of the perceived officer. Ooh.
Mm-mm. Doesn't
I
hit.
will mention that you're sitting on 6 rerolls tonight.
Oh,
Do we want to use one?
Do it.
yeah, go for
Are we
it.
good?
We've had a
Okay.
polite
We're halfway
chat
through.
so far.
Okay, hold on. I got a juju because last session all of the rerolls were worse.
Yeah.
Which continued
Really?
into Sunday night, too.
It did.
Sunday night was rough.
Oh, it's better by 1. That's good. So
Uh,
14.
Still going the right direction.
It is. I have to check the AC on these things. I'll just drop one there for... Are you kidding me?
I remember it being like higher. I think it was like 17. because they were hard to hit.
Yeah. Well, I might not be able to tell you that tonight.
Oh, is it broken?
Okay, there it goes. No, it's just really laggy for some reason. Yeah, that's not going to hit. But it definitely comes, like, it blasts right out over him. And at least with that kind of a roll, it's clear what you were aiming at.
Polymorph just added to, yep.
Oh, unfortunately, we've already had one reroll on this attempt. And we have the house rule of one reroll per attempt. But we know you're...
We'll need it
Thank
again.
you, Paul,
Oh, yeah.
for trying.
We know you're ready to help the team out. We will get to it. I'm sure you will have a chance in the very near future. Yeah, no double dipping. Even if you, like, flip the chip, there's still that question mark hanging out over you. And that's coming from a dude that, like, chronically flips the chip.
I don't know what that means. All right.
Tell you later.
Yeah, when I'm older.
I will say after that, Katie does like run to the battlefield, like run into the battlefield.
I was assuming that was like while you were charging down the hill with the hammer
Yeah,
over your
yeah,
head.
okay. I just
What
wanted to
does
make
she
that clear.
say first? What does she want our help?
She mostly wants to know who you are and how you are speaking to her thus.
So I have an ability to talk to people I can see. We're in the tree line and we're willing to help you. And it looks like you're not doing so well. Do you need help or not?
As Katie's charging down the...
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. She'll take her eyes off of the, fight to look up at you and see Katie come charging down, and she watches the blast go past her. And you hear I think we've got this.
So she doesn't want our help.
As she says that, the remaining men surge onto the construct that's left and beat it down into the ground.
Katie, come back.
Katie,
Katie, come back right now. Turn around and run. Katie, run. Let's run.
And she kind of turns around. Now come on out where we can see you.
Oh, shit.
And we'll find out what that conversation looks like after a short break. So we're back here. We all could use a quick stretch, refresh our waters, and then we'll see where this goes. Let's see you back here in about 5. See you then.
Sorry.
The one that's between Chrysanthemum and her bottle.
Yes. That's a dangerous place to be for many reasons.
Special and like not forced or anything. It's brilliant. I think the quote I have in particular actually came from chat, which was the spell slide into DMs, which then became a spell. That's just it's very endearing. So I love it.
I'm going to follow it up by saying that the reaction to receiving a message spell was an absolute, just as far as roleplay goes.
Like, why am I here?
I legit have been screaming this entire time. So you know what? What is the health of everybody
You're also
right now?
full health. You want to like come
All right,
back and join
everyone's
the battle?
full health.
Like, no, we're not. The rest
All
of
right.
us are like highly injured. You're on the
Yeah, we're
outside,
all
full
hurting
health. You wanna,
pretty
like,
bad.
help out a little bit?
says that everybody's.
Oh, refresh.
Refresh
Never mind.
that. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
Ember's alive because I just healed for 12. Show us that 12 out of 41.
You were
like
literally
farting
seeing
around
full
on the
health
outside of
this
the circle.
entire
Like,
time,
come
weren't you,
join
Yansen?
me. I'm full health. Y'all,
Shadows
I'm having
didn't
picnic
have a
over here.
spot on the jam of the thing, and I was just like, oh, I don't know.
I think we broke the...
But there's a way to check if you really want to know.
I'm intrigued.
Cut your hand. Bleed in front of her.
Got it.
I mean, but if she's
Yeah, I didn't think I'd do it. I so did it. Smell it?
but like she could not necessarily
So
be a
Paul's is right there.
vampire.
Well, you're
She'd be
saying
like,
that she is a vampire, so
or she's like possessed by one, or like
cutting her hand open,
or like the
in the middle
leader.
of Strahd's domain.
Wait, her
Sounds
hand or
like-
my
not
hand? I
hers,
just cut
not
my hand
hers.
open.
Not hers.
Sounds like a
James.
fantastic idea. Oh,
I didn't have to cut my hand open. We need to cut her hand open.
oh.
No.
Come here, girl. Come on.
no, you
I'm
mean to
already
say-
bleeding.
James just like waving his bloody hand in
Like, come
Irina's
on.
face.
Oh no, that whole love interest thing. That's right. Oh, I forgot. I almost killed him.
He goes in, he does a few loops, he comes back out, and beep.
Okay. Beep once if there's dead bodies in there. Beep twice. No, that doesn't work. All right, beep twice. No, that doesn't work. Okay, beep. Yeah, screw it. I'm gonna see if I can sneak up. Like, see if I can sneak up and find a widow to kind of like. It's not really the sharpest tack in this box. David.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we assume this guy is bad.
Oh, he's super bad.
Well, you know.
Okay. That's all I needed to know.
Good.
I mean, he keeps
I
on trying
have-
to. He's a dick. He keeps on trying to coerce Irina into coming up to his castle and fucking die, become a vampire lady, and she's not into it.
Well, I mean, you know, okay.
Beat you, they get to win.
Okay. I can handle that. It's a 40-cent bet to me.
Bet $5.
Table max. All right. 80-cent raise. Oh, this is going to make
80 cents. 80 cents is for fools, young lady.
Oh,
All of
jeez.
it.
I have
480. Get out.
I can't wait to save these.
I
He's
have
out.
a king. I have a king. Get out. Yes. You were wondering if I had a king? I have a king.
Out.
Get out.
Out. Oh, she's going to go in. She
She's
doesn't
thinking
buy
about
it.
it.
She doesn't buy it.
Because she has a 4.
You think?
I think she has an ace 4.
Yep.
So here's the deal.
She's in.
Some would say, she's in!
Oh.
Does she have the other king?
Yes.
She has the other one?
Yep, but we have the 10. And we take that pot away from her.
Yep.
Way.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm going. Like, do we think it's going to follow us?
Yeah,
I'm sure it will.
Run it? Yeah, I was gonna say, can we outrun it, or is it like something that's just gonna follow us no matter where we go?
I don't think we can outrun it. I mean, it's not going to come any closer for a bit.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're gonna have to fight
Well,
it.
we could take shelter in the smoldering ruins, right? Because
I don't know if that's gonna help.
We
It's probably
don't know what's in the smoldering ruins.
Well, it couldn't be any worse than this.
We could
Oh,
come
yes,
across-
it could!
We could come across like another giant creature, and then we're fighting two at the same time. And then
But
it's
it could be like Godzilla versus King Kong. So if we run into something even nastier, maybe it won't want to eat us. It'll go after the other thing because they're legends and they have to fight. That's how that works.
No, or they team up against us.
You've had a very fortunate life, haven't you?
Punch the. No, I know that's a bad idea.
There is so much nope surrounding this trap. I am not here for an amulet. I am here for a traumatized rogue. Let's get the fuck out of here. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's 2.
Well, I wasn't really concerned about the amulet. I just thought that.
I'm heading that way. I'll tackle her
she
ass
already has
again.
the potion. She already has the potion.
No, she just handed you the book. And as soon as your hands touched it, she let go and run.
She's not going to take the potion?
She's got bigger fish to fry. Like, gain her ass out of there. You shot her.
I'm trying to unshoot her to the best of my abilities.
It seemed like a good idea at the time.
I'm gonna go. Common, Mother Clucker, do you speak it? We need some information. I'm not sorry, by the way.
go ahead and roll me a performance check. Maybe the dice are going to favor you at the moment.
Also,
Can't be an intimidation? I can't like intimidate the rhyme with my music. Okay.
No.
Well,
Can
I thought I would
This
try.
is an intimidation music.
Or
though.
I can't persuade them to not sing with my music. Okay.
What's up,
Can
Molly?
Can we do anything when we're singing, or is that like it takes up our whole action?
Oh, it doesn't.
Come on.
It doesn't. Oh, good lord. Yeah,
Finally.
I'm over here trying.
I finally can bard.
Da-
For just let me bard. I never get to bard. I'm always doing failing rolls when it comes to bard skills.
The bard is
the
being
first time.
You're barding when it's most important.
It's about time.
MVP.
Sweden is my lucky country.
No
All right.
kidding.
I feel like we should not be meddling anyway. If there's someone killing someone else, it might be for a good reason. You don't know.
Oh my.
That got dark. Wow.
We have killed lots of people.
For various and sometimes no good reason. Yeah, she's not wrong.
That's the note we're coming back out on, because if you're going to completely derail the entire campaign, I want you to say so in public.
Well, not on purpose. We're just really
Not
good
on
at it.
purpose. We've just done it quite a few times now.
It's just one of Siv's
It's like habit
tactical
now.
plans.
You'd be amazed at how well you have failed at derailing the major story arc.
Oh, that's good though.
You've
I don't
elongated
wanna-
parts of it.
We don't want to
That's
derail it.
It's not the goal. We just.
Are you sure?
Yeah. More of a side effect.
On that note, the battle has ended as you come down, unless you choose not to, which is really the big question. Katie's like coming out into the clearing on either side of this road that they've used as their battlefield. The 4 suits of armor lay in pieces, scattered around. And if you at the exact moment we are in, everyone is still primed to fight.
Yeah.
And the woman clearly in charge is calling for anyone in the wood tree line to come out and be known.
So I hear her say that.
No, but she's turning to look in your direction and waving you in. Her sword is still out and at the ready. She is not relaxed.
Okay.
I did, however, yell to you to come back.
Right, because I was gonna say like, so did I heard that? Did it seem like she would have been able to hear Sam yelling as well?
Probably.
I mean, she's heard my voice. I have spoken in her head.
Yeah, there's already been a slide
No,
into
but
DMs.
she doesn't know that it's not me.
Far enough that it's not going to be clear, though.
Mm-hmm. Now, to be fair, Sib has gone off sneaking somewhere, and no one has an idea what happened to Delilah.
Right.
She's vanished.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's too.
She was right there a second ago.
Okay.
She must have gone with Sib.
I'm gonna
I
hop
didn't
off.
see her go with Sib though.
I'll hop off of JB, and I'm just gonna look to Aveline and be like, find the others and take JB with you if you need him. And I'm gonna sprint out after Katie, and as I do, I'm going to DM Katie and just be like, they didn't want our help. She is now demanding that we all come out here. We all is gonna be you and me, okay? But that's a DM.
Yeah. I'm replying, I would say, that is what I was hoping for. And then out loud as I'm running, because if it's a downhill, Katie's not stopping. There's the power of gravity. Like, nah.
No.
So, but what she is going to yell is, like, as she's kind of sliding down this hill, is, do you need a healer? Towards the lake. And I'm gonna she's gonna keep booking towards not her. She's gonna run, but not like at a full sprint.
You're gonna walk with. You're gonna do the EMT walk with purpose.
No, like she's running.
Dog.
She's running, but she's not sprinting.
Okay.
But she is going towards the people that are down, that are like on the ground. She's not going towards the leader or anything like that.
I'm gonna wave like a box of band-aids that I have and be like, we're here to help.
Okay. No, it sounds like it's a little faster than the pantsuit power walk. The officer will start to wave off with a no, hold your ground, hold there. And as she says that, one of the guys has already dropped his polearm and is waving you over to one of the people that are down.
I'm gonna go towards the person that's down.
Yeah, I have decent medicine. Can I patch somebody with a medicine? I don't even know what that does.
I'm gonna get to them.
It helps stabilize them.
Oh, can I try to help do that?
As you get there,
I was gonna cast the minute that I get there within touching distance. I was gonna cast Spare the Dying.
that will
So-
definitely work.
Yeah,
That's a cantrip too, isn't it?
it is a cantrip.
Good
so
cantrip.
After that, after that one, and like as long as I am not physically restrained, I'm gonna go towards all of them who I can do Spare the Dying.
Okay. There's only one that's in a position that you can spare the dying on.
Okay.
But you can at least get them back into shape, like stabilize them.
Okay. So I'm gonna do
Yeah,
that.
and I'll help with that.
Cool. That's actually working again now. Tech issues never stop. There's a short heated exchange between the who is it? Nope, that's the wrong company. That's why I'm looking. Between a half elf and the officer, where they have words with each other. The one that waved you over is just like grateful that you were in time. That they thought they had things more in hand until, before the wizard went down. And when you look closer, the one that you've healed has the same coat as everyone else, except that his buttons are all copper instead of pewter. It's the only distinguishing feature.
Looking at him, was he like physically hit?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he was right there in the scrap with everyone else. He's not a linger back kind of dude.
Okay.
Which might be one of the reasons he nearly died.
Yeah. Katie's not gonna say anything, but NLK says, "Squishy little man, go in the back, bro." So, but Katie does not say that because Katie doesn't know. But yeah, she's not gonna cast anything else on him. Just Spare the Dying.
Just yet.
If one of his buttons is ruined, I'll mend it. I have mending.
It would not be wise to mend his coat yet. He should probably have the wounds tended more thoroughly before
Sure.
you fix his coat and his.
It's a nice coat.
Read through.
Maybe it's his favorite coat, and he'll be so appreciative.
It seems important.
He has special buttons.
I think it's very Sam. Well, I can fix that. Here's a Twinkie.
Like she can't do anything else.
I'm
for
just
him.
shoveling Twinkies into all the people who are passed out on the battlefield. Just
Katie's
like, here
gonna
you go.
gently move.
I'm
Sam's
kidding.
hands
I'm
and just-
kidding.
So,
I
as,
totally
as you look around, most of them are starting
Right,
to
bandages.
like tend to the ones that are down to try to they're lining them up and respectfully preparing them either for burial or for transport or something.
I will say all of them now do have off-brand cartoon band-aids on them, though.
It's how we marked them. It's how we know that we cast Spare the Dying on them.
Yeah.
That works for me.
This is our soldier. This is our soldier.
The officer finally puts her sword down and through some gritted teeth We appreciate your efforts to help. Who are you?
We are just travelers that were passing through and she points back towards the pike turn. Through the pike turn, and we heard a battle. Or are we like super far away from the
You're
pike
about
turn?
an hour and a half walk from there.
Oh, okay. Never mind. She's not going to say that.
We're heading to Haven. We have friends there, and we haven't seen them in a while.
You have
and
friends in Haven?
Well, I said we haven't seen them in a while.
How long is a while?
Like years.
Huh. Where have you been for those years?
Town with 7-Eleven in it. I forgot the name of.
I know, what was the name of the town?
Oxford?
Oxford. We're from Oxford.
That's a 2.5 day walk.
Yeah,
You
like
have
I said,
horses
we're
up in those
going
trees?
through.
There.
What?
It's a 2.5 day walk to get this far for a jaunt into a town. Are there horses
say
that
it
you've
was
been
a-
traveling on?
I'm so sorry. I'm trying to explain to you.
Okay. Explain to me.
We're from Oxford.
I caught that.
I have family up north. And on our way, we realized we're near Haven. And we have a friend who passed through Oxford a couple years ago who said they were from Haven. We haven't heard from them in a while. We decided to go check up on them. Make the we don't get out often. We thought we'd go say hi to them.
Give me a quick intelligence check.
Sure. Just roll intelligence?
Yep.
Not deception?
Nope.
22?
You catch yourself because you've been traveling south for the last 2.5 days.
Oh, I don't know that. Okay, so we're going south. Okay.
So you would not be going up north.
I'm sorry. In my head, we've always been going up north, but all right.
You caught
we're
yourself.
Going
You
south.
didn't
Yeah.
say that because that would have
Yeah,
been that would have been bad.
I haven't been writing directions down.
But you're
yes.
smart. You caught
Yes.
that.
Yes. So we're going south to visit some of my family. And yeah, we decided to stop on by and see whatever happened to our friend that came through a few years ago.
We had received a letter a while ago and said that they were back in Haven.
When did you receive that letter?
She looks at Sam. I believe it was
Wasn't
4
it
months ago?
It was in the spring sometime, I thought.
Mm-hmm. And where are you traveling to again?
Haven?
You said Haven was on the way to your destination. What was your final destination?
Oh, what's the name of the town with the college in it?
Oh, the Arbor of Ann.
Arbor of Ann. Yeah.
And you have family there.
Well, around there.
Around
you know
there.
gnomes.
No, I don't.
Well, they have very large families.
And we
They're
tend to live
everywhere.
a little secluded in trees. So
It's very impressive if you have never seen it.
So what business are your friends in the Arbor of Ann into?
I don't have friends in Arbor of Ann. I have family who live near Arbor of Ann.
And their business or trade?
Tinkerers. As my entire family
Stay
has been.
here.
I'm sorry.
Are you going to Haven as well? Is that why you're here?
I'm going to take a moment to confer with my reigning men. Stay here
Sure.
while I do so.
Before you go, may I ask who we are speaking to?
No.
All right.
Meanwhile, as Sib's sneaking off, Aveline is heading off with JB around towards where Sib is supposed to be.
I'm gonna go pop up beside Aveline. What the hell's going on?
they're dealing with the situation, which I'm very quickly realizing I don't want to be a part of, just based off of from a distance.
Yep, you're not wrong.
Everyone's face. Yeah. Delilah's missing.
Oh, crap. All right.
Have you seen her?
I don't believe I did. Did I see her disappear?
You didn't see her disappear, but you
She was
could
back
roll a
behind
perception from where you're standing.
I definitely want to roll a
Can I roll
perception.
Yes.
I wanted to do that since you said she was missing.
Dirty 20.
21.
Yeah, you
Nice.
totally spot her. She
hell
actually
is
is about 100 yards away in the opposite direction that you went. And she's got herself nestled up against a tree, and she has her bow at full pull.
Towards who?
Well, it's hard to tell if it's the officer or Katie, but it's definitely in that direction.
You want me to shoot a warning arrow at her and distract her?
No, because I think she'll let go of her arrow and accidentally hit Katie.
Right. You want her or you want me to? Or we'll be sneak around them? You go towards her, I'll go sneak around.
Lindy.
Oh, right, Lindy's here.
I'm asking this honestly because I've had family as well, and you don't always get along. There's a reason not to trust your sister?
I don't think so.
But is your gut saying anything different?
My gut says that she's lining up a shot on that officer.
When I hear that, I'm going to move off to try and
If she
distract
does
that.
anything untoward against your friend, the arrow will probably fly.
Okay.
Sib, meanwhile, sneaks off towards her. What do you do when you get to her? As Tiffany starts working through both sides of the plan this time.
It is. And then I'm trying to figure out which one would be easier. I think I'm actually going to appear in front of her shot. Like, you can lower that now.
And
What's going on?
She just, in one smooth motion, drops, rolls around the tree, and comes up on the other side of it. We don't know what they're going to do. We need to be ready.
No, and this won't help. We're ready.
It will help.
Let's move closer.
I can hit just fine
observe
from here.
through the trees.
I am observing.
What are you hiding from us?
Nothing.
We can't help you if you don't tell us.
I'm trying to protect your friends.
This isn't the way to do it.
When she tries to put them in irons for being somewhere they're not supposed to be because she doesn't like their story, you're not going to let them just take them, are you?
No, they're not going to take them.
Then we're ready to fight when it comes to it.
Where are we that we're not supposed to be?
Where the Empire doesn't want us.
That doesn't make any sense.
It makes sense when you're outside the Imperial City.
What are you hiding? What do I not know that we need to know to keep my friends safe?
That those men and women are just as likely to turn their blades on us as they are anything else.
Soldiers follow rules. Whether you like the rules or not.
Soldiers
whether
follow
they-
orders.
Yeah, and they're rules. Now, we might not like them, but there might be a reason. But you're hiding something that can help my friends, and you're not telling me, and I'm done with it.
And she puts Zero down. Fine. We'll see what happens then.
Well, let's move closer. We'll get advantage, and we'll be there when they need us. But this is how accidents happen, and somebody that wasn't meant to gets hurt.
I call that an ambush.
Isn't that what you were setting up to do?
Yes. If they had drawn a weapon, we were ready. I was ready.
Yeah, we'll be ready a little closer.
Why do we need to be any
But
closer?
fill us in.
You can go check from there. I have no intention of showing myself to them.
Myself. Getting closer to the tree line so I can actually get a read on what's going on. Which would be a lot easier if you'd trust us.
I trust you fine. I'm trusting you from right here.
You hurt my friends, you're going to regret it. Accidentally or not.
Fair.
I'm going to take off for the tree lines. Who's going to shoot Avelina? Look! I'd like to suddenly realize that Aveline hopefully has taught Sim some, like, military science or something. I don't know.
Lane didn't understand it, but it's just like, good job.
AB mimics the thumbs up. Yeah.
Beep. Lane pats him on his little side.
I'm going to get close enough to Aveline to shout that I'm just going to go get a better look through the tree line.
Okay.
I don't know.
Is it a whispering shout? Just,
yeah.
Okay.
Totally stage whisper. I'm getting the better one. I don't know. She was going to shoot the bad guy, but who knows if she was going to turn her back on ours. She won't tell. She's hiding something. I don't know what. Lindy, do you know why we're not supposed to be here?
Because it's the Empire? You haven't been outside the Imperial City much, have you?
Yeah, I don't live in the Imperial City. Been out of it for a really long time. Usually, they don't accost you when you're walking freely places. They might ask you, but they're not going to be like,
out here, the only
we're
reason
capturing you.
The only reason you see any of their troops is either to collect taxes or to bully people. Demand shelter, take your
Or to
food.
find things. They got pretty horses. I'm gonna walk up. I'm gonna.
Meanwhile, down on the road, the officer will come back over to you with one of the privates with her. I have to keep looking at the right list of names. I keep going to the wrong one. Upon conferring with my troop, I am to thank you for your intervention.
You're very welcome.
We just saw you lying. We saw your soldiers lying there. And I could help.
The corporal will be grateful. What name shall I give when he asks who came?
I mean, our names are not very important. We are merely just travelers.
Then that's what I will tell him.
That's fine.
Have you been to Haven? Or are you on your way by chance? Do you know if the road's clear of these things?
We would prefer not to find our way to Haven.
Why?
Oh.
It's not fit for man nor beast that direction.
Well, like I said, we have a friend who lived there. We haven't heard from them in a long time, though.
I would mourn your friend and move on.
What happened?
She points at the shards of metal. Last several months, these have gotten worse and worse, and there hasn't been a word out of Haven. And I'm tired of losing good men and women on patrols out here to find out what it is.
You have
but
no
the
idea.
Empire is doing something about it?
Throwing bodies into a meat grinder. For an outliving province of peasants.
Well, those peasants still have lives. They are still valuable.
If they were valuable, they would move themselves somewhere safe. If they haven't the wisdom to go to a safer location, then they're not worth protecting. And again, I am tired of losing good men and women on a needless fight.
Are these spreading? Are they becoming more of a problem? If you forgive me, if you are saying that these peasants should move away, but you yourself are having issues with them, if the Empire is having issues with them, then what hope do these peasants have? They can only move so far.
Imperial City is not that many days' travel.
Exactly. So isn't this a bigger threat to the Imperial City?
Could they not be encroached? Are they getting closer to the Imperial City?
Like I said, I have family that doesn't live too far from here, so this is concerning.
Well, then your family should make sure they're well fortified. Or perhaps the military geniuses of the court will actually allocate the needed troops.
Do they understand the severity of what's happening here? Do they understand that you have been losing good men?
Do you see any braiding here that indicates I'm privy to that that information or intelligence?
You have a very fancy hat.
Why
does that not
very
mean
nice
that...
hat? I will say that.
I apologize, but if fancy hats normally mean some sort of status, and so I apologize if you do not have the ear of...
I mean, status or not, it's a smart hat.
You should use the hat. People respect hats.
They really do. Maybe we should get a hat.
Maybe. None of us are wearing hats, right?
I kind of want a hat now. I'm not going to lie. I normally don't have the head for a good hat.
She's going to put a hand just slightly on.
Sorry.
Be like,
derailing.
We will find you a hat once we get to your family.
Right.
I apologize if that seems out of... If it is advice that you do not need.
It is not my place to speak ill of my superiors.
We are not wanting you to speak ill of, but you have the hat. Why not use it? That is all I am saying.
Because
I
am simply in command of a company that started off this month with 30 men and women at arms, and now we're down to 5.
Oh.
I'm sorry for that.
Because the Duke's most loyal 5th Regiment has been assigned to patrol and to contain.
The Duke.
That's our title. We answer to the Empress like all of her military does. But the 5th Regiment is called the Duke's most loyal.
And you are the 5th Regiment?
What's left of Company B?
Sorry, I cannot write fast.
Yeah, me neither. Sorry. The Duke's most loyal.
I think I got it.
Got it.
Okay. I got it.
Everyone's writing this stuff down.
I'm trying to take good notes, even though Katie
we won't
take
look at
no
it again,
notes.
but
that is not character for Katie at all. But
you've been in correspondence, though. Surely they know your losses. I'm surprised that they would not send you reinforcements or have you retreat at least.
Give me a persuasion or performance as you wish.
Oh, they're both a -1.
Either of you can. Either of you can roll it.
I have a +3 to persuasion.
Because she's about
so you
done talking to you. If you want this conversation to go any further, you got to lay on a little bit of the mechanical charm.
Okay, 16.
A 16 will definitely keep her going.
Okay.
What was the question again?
I said,
yes.
Surely that they know that you've lost so many. I'm surprised that they haven't sent you reinforcements or told you to fall back. Clearly 5 of you can't. If 30 couldn't, 5 of you can't take on this, right?
It's a patrol. We've been assigned it. We walk it. We report back where we've been. We identify what we've seen.
Do you wait until there are none of you left to report?
The corporal will speak up. And you notice, unlike anyone else in the company, she has slightly pointed ears. Everyone else is human.
The corporal is slightly... Okay.
She's the only one she's the only potentially elven. She's probably more of a half-elf.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, this is an entirely human group. Which does
Is that normal for the Empire?
Not really. The dragoons that you met earlier in the campaign were a blend of elves, half-elves, and humans.
Mm-hmm.
And you know you've seen dwarves in uniform. To your knowledge, you've never seen a gnome who has enlisted in the Imperial Army.
I mean, that makes perfect sense to me.
Hard to lock down why. But that could also just be you haven't met everyone in the military. It is an empire. Meanwhile, as you were discussing, what's everyone else up to?
Eveline is motioning to, she leaves. Well, she asks JB very nicely, a little awkwardly because she's still unsure how to talk to him. She says, JB, will you please watch Delilah and let us know, even if it's just Sam, I don't know if you can tell me things, if she moves, okay? But stay right here and just watch her.
I think he's gonna like rumble and then do the thumbs up.
Yes.
Because he can take orders from my party members as well in my absence. So he will definitely do what you ask him.
Cool. Good, JB. And then, yeah, I'm going to try and sneak a little closer to try and see if I could hear any of that at all. We're pretty far away, right?
You probably won't be able to get within hearing distance without coming out of the tree line.
Okay. I mean, it's probably for the best that I didn't hear any of those conversations. But she's just gonna keep eyes on and also just observe anyone who's fallen on the ground, kind of given a general scope between what happened here and then seeing if there's anything else in the tree line possibly that I can catch, another threat, or potentially if anyone's trying to scout us as we're scouting them.
Okay. As you watch, with your experience, you will notice that two of them are talking to Katie and Sam. One of them is walking opposite you along the tree line, kind of just pacing and watching for any movement in that direction. And the remaining, so that's 1, that's 2, that leaves 5. The remaining 3 are tending to the fallen and taking them off the concrete into the where there's grass and setting them up to be buried. So they're kind of doing what you recognize as the end of battle stuffs that you would do for your comrades. So it seems pretty like they know what they're doing, and you generally recognize the activity.
Totally fair. I'm just gonna lay low then until I get some sort of signal, because I feel like if I pop out, we're just going to piss them off.
Sibs with Eveline on that one.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, down on the road, the lieutenant will sigh at a certain point in your conversation. Honestly, I don't think that the Imperial forces are ready to commit to any kind of an action until the Imperial city has actually been threatened. They'll keep sending patrols, keep insisting that it's good enough until there's an actual perceived threat.
Well, that's not very fair to you guys, is it? Or the townsfolk. I understand, though. Politics, right?
That's where these things are seeking us out.
They're seeking you?
Feels like it some days.
What do you mean?
It's just a feeling. They seem to know where we are at all times.
That's upsetting.
They keep finding...
The corporal will shake her head. I think it's just bad luck.
How many times have you had this bad luck?
The corporal will answer that. Well, we've been on this patrol for 7 days now, and this is our fourth battle with them.
That is not just bad luck.
Is it? I'm sorry. Can I do an Arcana check? I don't know what that would do, but like, do they have like a tracking device on them? Is there some? Do you mind? I mean, I have some gifts with the arcane, and as I said, I'm also a tinkerer and come from that background. Is it possible maybe I could? See, you might have a tracking device on you. Could I try to look for one?
No, you will not be searching me or my men.
It's up to you.
Well, I am glad that we were able to help. That we could, and I am sorry that we could not save more of your men. But we will, if you will permit us, we will be on our way. And I wish you good fortune. I hope that no more bad luck finds you.
Good luck finding the Arbor of Anne. And it is only because of your kindness that I am not inquiring further as to your purpose there.
And I appreciate that.
It would be wise not to share with too many more people that is your destination.
Why do you say that?
It is not a place gentlefolk travel to. But given your kindness thus far, I will give you the benefit of the doubt that I would not afford most others.
We will be careful then. Thank you for your warning.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
And we're going to walk up.
Yep.
While they're coming back, once I see them starting to come back, I want to go find Lindy and ask her, why did you put Evelyn between your sister and you? Yeah, I know it was a while ago.
Also, wow, no build up to that one.
Sorry. It just occurred to Zim that she hadn't asked.
Like, here, that's
and
a
they're coming back, so hey.
There's a Band-Aid there? Hang on, let me grab that. Wink. She will equally look stunned at the sudden drop of question. And her answer is pretty much summed up as she was just really uncomfortable with the conversation. Like, she doesn't like thinking about what happened in Haven.
Did your sister help you in Haven?
We both fled. We got separated when we did.
You just seem more uncomfortable with her than I would have expected after not seeing her for a couple months. I'm shrug. Okay.
Meanwhile, as the conversation's wrapping up down below, Delilah will make her way over to Aveline. Kind of take a knee next to where you're watching it from.
Aveline smiles over at her and says, so you really hate the Empire, eh?
They haven't done anything but harass everyone out here. If you ask me, I'm not entirely sure that the right side came out down there.
You know, I get that. I don't like people in power like that either. They're a bunch of bullies.
Imagine if Cormac actually raises an army and can make a dent in the Empire.
That'd be pretty amazing, wouldn't it? You know, do you think that's what he's trying to do? That would be... You saw what they did to them. The Empire wouldn't stand a chance.
It would take time, but I think he could. Question is, which side would you take in that fight?
There'd be a lot of bloodshed, but I'd have to take the cleric side.
Because I'll tell you one thing that I know for a fact. I've never seen those metal creatures with any kind of leadership. I think that's why he's leaving himself just on these little raids. if he could count on a couple of people to take command, he might have an army. That would put the Empire on its back heel and make them respect the people that were here before the convergence. Those of us that have a birthright to this universe. Not some elven empress that got dropped on a city.
You know what? I think you're right.
She leans in, looks over so that she's sure no one else is in earshot. Would you be willing to meet with him? And before you answer that, we're going to find out what you say next week. Which is a little earlier than usual, but I want that to be our cliffhanger.
Oof.
That was a lot of a lore dump at the end there.
It was so funny because as all that information was coming down, I was like, oh my God, she's actually on the side because she wants the Empire to be down. And I was like, I literally was going to go up to her and try and pull exactly that. And I was like, oh, she came this is perfect. Oh no. Oh my God.
I'm a bad man.
No, you're a good
Fun.
storyteller.
That's good. Yeah. No. It's not so black and white anymore. It's a very large gray mass.
It is.
It's always gray.
I hate gray. I want this to be black and white. Kill or no kill.
Well, now
But Katie's gray.
Yeah, but she shows up blue on streams though.
True. And, when you stop and think about it, you do have some potential for there's still a lot that could happen. Some of the gray may disappear with time. Kind of depends on what all happens with all of you. Which, you'll have to wait and see. I think personally, I still think the animated armor makes nice guilt-free monsters to kill. Which is
But we
nice.
didn't get to kill any.
You've got a pretty good body count of them so far.
It's true.
Are you requiring guilt-free monsters now because we somehow pitied the gnolls?
We felt too much.
I think we did confuse him with that one.
Yes, you did. And Outer Dork, I will take this moment to pause you and thank you so much for your weekly contribution. It is so kind of you to do that, and I deeply appreciate that, as I always do. You do not ever need to do that, but thank you for sharing a bit of our community and the emotes with everybody, including, and I'm not one to brag about emotes, but I have been waiting to have this emote since they first rolled out the fact that affiliates were going to get animated emotes, and that was to upgrade Kaylee to an animated one. And that's what I've been waiting for with bated breath. So there you go. So thank you so much for sharing that. And then welcome to Sleazy Normal and the Curious Nautilus for joining the community. We appreciate having you here at the game table where we have all kinds of fun and a little bit of high drama. A little bit of it. And Celan, glad to have you here as well.
I thought we handled that situation pretty well.
You did. It was beautiful. It was all wins all around. A fatigued officer who's lost most of their troop and, a certain level of trepidation for random people wandering through the effective outback of the Empire. As well as all kinds of other fun plot twists. So, are we ready to go around the table with our end of game wrap up? Have we had time to formulate our stars and our wishes? Okay, then we're gonna take a slightly different pattern for chiming in tonight. As we wind down, the standards of who are you, where do we find you, who are you tonight, and what's your star of the night, the star moment, the thing that really stood out as the one fun thing you want to think about again tomorrow. And we're going to start with Pond.
God, I hate going first. I'm just kidding. Hi, everyone. I'm That Other Pond. I play Aveline, the human fighter, and my start of the night was probably that cliffhanger was intense. I was like, oh, snap, because it was all coming together. I like the fact that, like, collectively as the party, like, was like, okay, we're really sus on Delilah. And, like, what's with this? And, like, figuring out, like, her motive and everything like that. It came together very nicely. So that was very satisfying.
Awesome. Thank you for that. We'll pop over to NLK.
Well, I am Nightlight Knight, or NLK, and I played the half-orc forge cleric Katie tonight. And I think... I don't know. The fact... Please don't take this the wrong way. The fact that Sib had a plan, like, and that we talked through the plan, so great. So that was like 100% my star of that. I was like, all right, we know what we're doing. We got this. But yeah, I think that and the cliffhanger were both like chef's kiss. Very, very good.
Now, I'll admit on that point, I want to give Pond a week to think about what Aveline's willing to commit to.
I have it all here.
Okay, and then we're going to zig over to Tiffany.
Hi, I'm Tiffany, or TS, and I played Sib tonight. And you'll catch me again next Wednesday here. Start of the night's kind of hard. The cliffhanger was awesome. I'm digging the cliffhanger. I also totally think Lindy is in on it as well. But I think Katie and Sam running down there and you know, talking with the guards was good, but I almost have to go back a little bit farther and Pond giving Lindy the Twinkie and her being like, no, what do you do? This is disgusting. Kind of, because that's our thing. We've joked about it, never done it. So I kind of got to go with that as my star for tonight, because that was just so wonderfully done.
And last but absolutely not least, Molly.
Hi, everybody. I'm Barely Molly. You can find me on Twitter at Barely Molly. I post a lot of art over there, including a lot of art of this campaign because too many good moments. And okay, so everyone has kind of touched on the stars of the night. So I'm actually going to post or say a theory of mine. And it is, what if they can track you if you have come through a convergence event? Because they've been tracking Katie and they seem to go after Aveline as well. But did they really go after Sib until she started attacking them? And they're clearly, from what Delilah has said, they're mad at these people who plopped over on a convergence and took over. So what if this is more so about people coming over from another world that they don't want here? Kind of like a you don't belong here type deal. That is my theory. That is my hot Sam take on this. So
trigger X-Files.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Right now.
Yeah. As soon as you said that, because when you talked about the tracking of them, like they're following them, and I was like, they have to be able to do this somehow. They found us too. How could this be possible? But if you go through a convergence event, I wonder if you give off an energy, like if there's a traceable energy from that, like a radiation almost. I'm sorry. This
all
is
I'm
going
saying is I'm
too
writing
long.
all of this down because this is something I've thought of so far, but gosh, it's cool.
It's obviously like a stretch, but like, what if? All right. That's my theory.
That's fun. Polymorph, while we're getting the raid set up, please share your theory, your star of the night. You are dying to do so, and I do not want you to not have that chance while we're all here pre-raid out.
I think it has to be forgery. Like the forgery. They killed all of us.
Oh, yeah.
The pun was the best.
Yeah.
That was really good. That was a great star.
The pond and the Twinkie. Yeah.
11 out of 10. I don't recommend Twinkies. I only took a bite. The rest is going. There's like a film of oil on the wrapper I see where the Twinkie was. It's not good.
That's how you know it's fresh.
Okay, Twinkie and fresh do not ever go together. That's not a thing.
This also has an expiration date of next month.
It has an
So I'm
expiration
concerned
date?
with how old this Twinkie is.
Because those expiration
And it
dates
still
are
hasn't expired.
pretty
That's the
far
first
out.
Twinkie.
Yeah, it says Best by
Expiration
March
dates are
13th,
just
2022.
They're just a suggestion. It doesn't mean anything.
Oh, my name is Rob, aka Lantern Noir. I am here Sundays and Wednesdays at 7 p.m. doing the D&D. This group is my Wednesday night group, and this is where we do the homebrew game. Sunday night is another group, and we do generally published adventures with my personal twist, which we're wrapping up Dragon Heist, and today we have officially finalized our tentative cast for Ravenloft 1921. Which I'm really geeked about. In fact, there was one person that I'm like, do you think you're still in? And then she asked for a whole bunch of details. And then I said, here are all the details. And then she vanished on me. And I went, oh no, crap. All right, I'm back to, okay, who else was interested? Who else do I have a good vibe off of? And I heard back like an hour and a half later, yeah, I'm in. Sorry, I was driving home. So, but we got that wrapped up. I also stream Saturday and Sunday mornings at 8 a.m. I start with coffee, and I've developed a flow where we do Medieval Dynasty with coffee, some XCOM for some stress, and some Beat Saber to get rid of it. And I'm coming to really like that flow of games in the morning because I'm ready to go do stuff. And that's me. We are going to send you off. There are lots of places I kind of wanted to try someone new tonight, but given the day I've had, I'm going to opt to actually send you somewhere where I know you're going to have fun, and I know it's going to be a good, clean time, and it will be laughs a second. We're going to kick you over to the Reluctant Hermit, as we often do on Wednesdays, because he also streams on Wednesdays, and he started a little bit after we started. He's working his way through Legend of Zelda. He put in his partner application this week for Twitch partner, and with the Caring Creators, they are a all family friendly stream. So you will have an amazing time hanging out with him. When you get there, please use all the emotes you can. Spread all of the love and the cheer. I am going to debrief with my players. I might not even make it in to say hi because the night we've had, I really want some time to talk to these amazing people and very, very dear friends. So on that note, we will be back here next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Gambleman, thank you for the compliment. I'm glad you have come to count on us for a good time. And yeah, we'll be back next week for the answer to that question. Where's the campaign going from here? We'll see you all then.